good morning and happy Survivor Series Sunday to all of my Amplified unit out there. This is the NXT TakeOver War Games review and reaction show, man. And I gotta be honest, 4 matches were built for this card, but not once did I think that it was not going to deliver as a whole. 4 matches and you think, fuck, man, that's not a full card at all. No, when you're talking NXT, that's a full card. Each match gets like a half an hour, it seems, at least. The main event was 47 minutes. And that's why I always say you can't compare NXT to the main roster. Because the main roster has to cater to so many different fan bases and styles. And they have to put together 8 to 10 matches at least on a card. Whereas NXT can get away with 4 matches, give them a half an hour apiece, and you're going to get some epic fucking shit. And that's what NXT did last night with TakeOver, man. Every single match blew me away. And right from the beginning, with an impromptu match from Matt Riddle, who comes down, where else would you show Matt Riddle to the world, right? Not just the NXT audience, because when you run a TakeOver, you're getting some casual fans. You're getting a lot of mainstream fans that are tuning in on such a big weekend, that are there in LA or watching at home. So this was a huge moment for not just Matt Riddle, but for the company. For them to actually give Matt Riddle that time to start, to kick off a TakeOver and introduce the world to who the fuck Matt Riddle is. He comes down to the ring and he calls out Cassius Ohno. They've had a little something going over the last several weeks. And Ohno's like, you can ring the bell, ref, but this is only going to take a second before I knock you out. Ohno gets in the ring, the bell rings, and by the time Ohno hears the bell ring, he's knocked out like that from a knee to the face from Matt Riddle. This impromptu match lasted literally maybe 3 seconds, and Cassius Ohno was knocked the fuck out. So all of these weeks of pumping up Cassius Ohno to be somebody again was all just to get knocked out in 3 seconds. Now don't worry, I feel Ohno and Riddle will continue their feud, especially they'll still have their longer televised match this Wednesday, and maybe it'll extend after that. But still, are a lot of fans gonna forget that he just got knocked the fuck out in 3 seconds? Probably not. And that's the way TakeOver kicked off, with a little impromptu, this is Matt Riddle world. World, meet Matt Riddle meet the world of NXT. Meet the WWE universe, right? That was huge, man. They're putting a lot of stock in this kid. And here's my problem with this, though. There was a gentleman by the name of RVD, Rob Van Dam. There was a gentleman known as John Morrison. Great talents. Vince was about to put the world into their hands. But they smoked a lot of weed. And the problem with that is you're going to fail tests that WWE don't allow you to fail. Matt Riddle has went on record a number of times and said he loves to smoke. This is a huge problem. It's amazing to me that Triple H, Vince McMahon, that the company took the risk on this kid. And then not only to see how it goes for a few months at least, no, they're giving him the spotlight right off the gate. I'm not saying the kid doesn't have the talent. He does. Former MMA fighter, by the way. So he's legit as well. But the King of Bros, I would have thought, has to prove himself. They're just giving him the spotlight and letting him roll with it, man. I don't know, man. I'm seeing kind of like an RVD John Morrison thing where after, it might not even be the company that gives Matt Riddle the boot. It might be the King of Bros that decides, you know what? I've been there, done that. This is kind of getting lame to me. It's getting redundant. I kind of just want to smoke a lot and do my own thing. We've already seen it with RVD. We've seen it with John Morrison. Do not be surprised if Matt Riddle gains a lot of success in NXT, maybe even the main roster, and then one day, very soon in the near future, says, I'm done. And he takes off. And he goes back to the independents or whatever the next tier is, maybe ROH. don't be surprised, man. I don't see this relationship really blooming for years and years to come between the company and Matt Riddle. That's just my personal opinion. We'll see where it goes. But that's how it kicked off. NXT put a lot of stock. Triple H put a shit ton of stock in the King of Bros. We'll see where this goes. Then we went into the actual card itself. We kicked it off with the Women's Championship for NXT. Champion Shayna Baszler taking on Kairi Sane. This was the best that I've seen Kairi Sane. She lays into her shots anyway. Coming from Japan, they work really stiff. In a good way, though. They're not actually injuring their opponents, but they're being stiff as fuck. Kairi Sane, this little firecracker, was laying into Baszler, man. Not one wasted movement. Kairi Sane was on her A-plus game last night, and she was marching around like the soldier she is, whooping that ass from pillar to post. Beating the fuck out of Shayna Baszler and doing it in style. I loved Kairi Sane last night. And there was one point in this match where she delivered an insane elbow. I still call it the Macho Man elbow. From the top rope onto the outside. I believe she hit Baszler, Duke, and Shafir. So all the three of the four horsewomen all went down from an insane elbow. Now, the aforementioned Duke and Shafir, they both interfered, obviously, in this match, but it wasn't overdone. I felt that Baszler and Kairi Sane still told their story as a twosome in that ring. But where Duke and Shafir needed to interfere and add that substance to the match, it was added beautifully. I loved it. And then at one point, you had Dakota Kai come down to help out Kairi Sane, but to no avail. The numbers game was still against them. So this brought out Io Shirai. Io Shirai and Kairi Sane have a little bit of history anyway that a lot of people might not know about. But this makes sense. It also makes sense if you are going to issue WWE tag straps for the women in the future. They're setting up already Kairi Sane, Io Shirai. I don't think Vince knows what to do with them on his main roster because we've seen that with Asuka. So I think this would be a cool introduction for them, Io and Kairi, when they get to the main roster. Have them going for those tag straps for the women. So I love the chemistry between Kairi and Io Shirai. Io Shirai comes down to help out Dakota Kai because Dakota is getting jumped by Duke and Shafir at this point. Io Shirai doesn't waste any time. She's in street clothes, t-shirt and jeans. She gets to the top rope. Everybody's on the outside. She does one of the best flying moonsaults I've ever seen in this business, male or female. That's right, Ricochet. Male or female. Io Shirai with a beautiful moonsault to the outside, landing on Shafir, Duke. Everybody's down and out. This leads to the center of the ring now, back to the main focal point of this match, which is Kairi and Shayna. Shayna's down and out. We think now that Io Shirai has taken care of everybody on the outside, this is a clear path to victory for Kairi Sane, right? She's up to the top rope. She delivers an insane elbow onto Baszler. It was beautifully done. I'm thinking this is a 1, 2, 3. No, this is a beautiful fucking ending sequence. She lands the insane elbow, but Baszler caught the elbow and rolls her up for the 1, 2, 3. Baszler retains her championship. And I love this because if you look closely, they didn't mention it last night. I haven't heard word of it yet. But if you look closely, I saw Kairi Sane's right shoulder up. Or was it her left? Okay, she's rolled up. Maybe it's her left shoulder. But her shoulder, the opposite shoulder to where the referee was, that came up. I don't know if that was supposed to happen. Kairi Sane was just into trying to kick out. But her shoulder popped up. So she did not get pinned, technically speaking. But the official decision last night, Kairi Sane was pinned to the mat by Shayna Baszler. And at the end of this, 3 of the 4 horsewomen were all celebrating as Shayna Baszler retains her championship. I love everything about this match. I love the interference. I love Io Shirai doing her fucking thing. The ending sequence, I cannot give this match more praise. And then you look at the main roster, and again, you cannot compare NXT to the main roster. Absolutely. But it's just a shame when you look at the main roster and you see Tamina Snuka and Nia Jax getting their spotlight. That's what the main roster's women division looks like. And as much as you can't compare them because it's two separate beasts, it's absolutely criminal that the main roster doesn't have epic women competition. When you have people like Charlotte and Sasha Banks and Ember Moon and Asuka, Naomi. And over on NXT, they're getting the job done nonstop. Kairi Sane, fucking amazing last night. Baszler showed she's the badass that she truly is portraying. She is that. And I loved everything about it, man. And again, I don't know if they're going to make a storyline out of this shoulder being up, but it was up. So Kairi Sane has a gripe. Loved this first match. Even with the impromptu King of Bros match off to the side, you have this as the actual first match. And again, this was over 20 minutes at least. Every match seemed like it was at least a half an hour. And again, the main event was 47 minutes, which we'll get to. But moving on, guys, because I can spend an hour talking about this match. That's how fucking awesome it was. But we'll move on to what many are calling, this was only the second match of the night, or third if you're counting the King of Bros match. But some people are calling this match the match of the fucking night. And this match is, of course, Alistair Black taking on Johnny Gargano. This was almost not fair at first. This is what I'm thinking. This is not fair for the people that have to follow. This is the second announced match on the card. And there's still a couple matches to go, including your main event. And they gotta follow Alistair Black and Johnny Gargano, man, because they put on a fucking classic. At least a fucking half an hour long. Beating the fuck out of each other. Sequences were on point. No fucking mishaps, no missteps, or at least not to the naked eye. I just, the fact that they can maintain such a high level for such a long time is just astonishing to me. Truly, guys. It's fucking, and I know that's the term of professional, and that's why they're so good, but fuck, man, to feed off of each other that greatly is something so special. There was a line that Mauro Ranallo used last night. He used it in the main event, but it makes it I love this line. There's more chemistry between these two than a science fair. I love that, man. He used that in the main event, but you could use that for Johnny Wrestling and Alistair Black. You could use it for Johnny Wrestling and Tommaso Ciampa. The point is, Johnny Wrestling, that's what makes him so good. You can put him in there with different styles, different heights, different weights, and this guy will make you and he look like fucking diamonds. And that's what Johnny Wrestling did again last night. Alistair Black more than held his own. Alistair Black looked like a fucking cruiserweight at times in that motherfucker. And Alistair Black is far from a fucking cruiserweight. Easily a heavyweight in this fucking professional wrestling world. What a match, man. So many times during this match, I'm honestly thinking, how is anybody following this? It's not fair at this point. That's how good this match is. In the storytelling at the end, well, Alistair Black is like, yeah, put the knee into my head. And he sits, the old fucking CM Punk sit stance. Like, bring it. Gargano goes to put the knee in the face, and no, it's a roll-up, but Gargano kicks out. Eventually, Gargano's the one who's asking to Alistair Black to end it. So he goes for the black mass. No, Gargano was waiting for that. That was all a ploy and a plan. But finally, it ends with the fucking black mass. Takes fucking Gargano's head square off his shoulders, or at least I thought, but no, this motherfucker was still hanging on by a string, by a thread. So Alistair Black sets him up again, and delivers a second black mass. This one did take his fucking head off. I still think it's in row 37. Gargano's head square off his fucking shoulders. 1, 2, 3. That's inevitable. These black masses were devastating. And what'd he say before he delivered that second black mass? Alistair looked into Johnny Wrestling's eyes, and I think he said, "I absolve you of all your sins." Or some shit like that. And then wham, takes his head off. I'm like, how the fuck do you top this? But then, They give us Tommaso Ciampa and Velveteen Dream, and they attempt to top this. And in most people's eyes, they did top that match. So now we get Velveteen Dream versus Tommaso Ciampa. Championship is on the line. I'm huge on Patrick Clark, who plays Velveteen Dream. So I'm like, go Dream. But you kind of know they're not taking it off of Ciampa. Ciampa's level that he's playing at is in a whole nother world right now. Tommaso Ciampa lately has just been in a whole different stratosphere. It's Ciampa's world, and we're all just fucking living in it at this point. But Ciampa fucking gives a Ciampa-esque performance. He's, again, top level. Dream comes out playing on all cylinders. He goes a little bit of fucking who Patrick Clark really is, the Velveteen Dream, but then he's also playing characters from yesterday. He's dropping leg drops like the fucking fucking Hulk Hogan. Randy Savage, he's dropping the elbows as well. His fucking dream bows. So he's doing the Hogan leg drops. He's got the Macho Man elbows flying. He's giving a little bit of fucking Stone Cold mud holing. So he's playing all the characters of yesterday. When you're talking entertainment mixed in with just a great fucking wrestler, that's Patrick Clark. You gotta love this motherfucker from Tough Enough, where we just laughed at this kid. He's never gonna be anything. He's never even gonna make it, probably. And now look at us now. This motherfucker is one of the brightest upcoming stars. Easily. You put these two together. I wasn't quite sure if it was gonna be magic. I digress. I reset my thought process. It was magic. It was right up there, if not even better, than Black and Gargano. I can't really decide. I haven't digested it fully, man, but both of those matches just awe-inspiring is the word I would use. In a Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa, you have this ending sequence I loved as well. Because you had the Dream go to drop his elbow to the outside apron, because that's where Ciampa ended up. So Dream's like, fuck it, I'm going for it. He goes to drop it. Tommaso ducks, dives, jukes, but he gets the fuck out of the way. And Dream ends up elbow dropping right onto the outside. Eventually, he would succumb to that fucking injury more than anything. Tommaso Ciampa would win this match. With one fucking boot off, he tried to pull his Eddie Guerrero and do the old boot trick. So Tommaso Ciampa's holding his title up high with one fucking boot on, banged up, fucked up. Referee's got the gloves on. I think it was it Ciampa that was a little sliced on his head? Just a tad? I think it was him. I think Velveteen Dream also had a cut, though. So I think they were both kind of bleeding in their own ways. So the referee is all gloved up. They went to war. They went to absolute fucking war. And that's how it ended. It was on a fucking DDT. But first of all, there was a vicious DDT on the outside. And then Tommaso Ciampa ends up winning it with another devastating DDT where they have the two rings because it's War Games. And in between the two rings, there's that fucking steel slab. And that's where Ciampa just DDT'd Velveteen Dream's dome piece square into the center of that son of a bitch. Dream was out for the next 5 minutes. Even after he lost this match, Dream was fucking done. The Dream had turned into a nightmare at that point, and he was deep in that nightmare. He was in La La Land. 2 back-to-back unbelievable matches, living up to the NXT TakeOver standards, right? We have it no other way at this point. At this point, getting a bad match at TakeOver would be shocking to us. So now I'm thinking, the main event, I feel bad for that now. Because now you gotta follow that shit. An awesome Women's Championship match to kick this off. You got Gargano and Alistair Black giving it their all and tearing the roof off the place. Then you have Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa totally destroying anything in its path, which is this main event. How do you follow this? But they did! This was fucking phenomenally done. You're thinking this has the chance to be a tragic train wreck if not done correctly. Same thing I said of last year's War Games. Luckily that delivered. This one more than delivered. Over-delivered. Lived up to its hype and expectations that I had, and then some. And this, of course, is the War Games match. This is Undisputed Era taking on Ricochet, Pete Dunne, the War Machine, or what they're called now, the War Raiders. And this was just tremendous, man. Right up to, I had to take a few notes just so I can recall everything for you guys, because I don't want to end the video and be like, oh, I wanted to talk about that. There was fucking the one spot where, who was it, man? I think it was it Fish? I think it was Bobby Fish. He was the last one. He took his lock when he got out, and Pete Dunne was the last one for his team. He double locked Pete Dunne's cage, and he took the key from his lock and he throws it into the crowd. So Pete Dunne can't come to save his team later on when it's his turn to enter the ring. So you got the double, and for those of you who are new to War Games, again, it's 2 rings with a huge fucking cage around both rings. 2 men start off the match, and after 5 minutes, I think it's 5 minutes thereafter, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, some shit, a new participant comes down from each team. But again, Pete Dunne was locked in. So this gave the clear advantage to Undisputed Era for the longest time. Finally, some referees come down with bolt cutters. They start cutting that shit, the locks. After 2 or 3 attempts, Pete Dunne is finally released from his little prison, and he goes into big boy prison. And then the match is on. The match doesn't officially start until everybody's in the fucking match. So here we are, 25 minutes into this thing at least. And then the bell rings. And then you wonder why this thing ended up being 47 minutes long. Well, that's why. Can I just say, before I go over a couple of things I want to talk about, the War Raiders, these are legit bona fide superstars. They're heavyweights, and I'm talking about superstar heavyweights on the main roster. Individually, tag team, you fucking name it. This is the type of team that when I was growing up, I would literally look at and say, wow, that's a fucking team I don't want to fucking fuck with ever. That, like, the Demolition did that to me. The Legion of Doom. Harlem Heat was badass. This is one of those teams. But unlike all of those teams, which were great, their athleticism and wrestling ability for men of that size is off the fucking charts. How are they fucking doing this with their size? Their athleticism, they're doing shit in that ring that I don't even think I could do. And I've been in that ring. I've taken a lot of the fucking moves. I've done a lot of this shit that maybe I shouldn't have even been doing. But they're doing it at a level that is insane to me. Mind-boggling. I mean, they are a big brute tag team. You're thinking they're just going to do some AOP shit. No! They're up there doing fucking moonsaults, basically. Springboarding off the rope. Twisting and turning and diving and flying through tables. I had to give props to the War Raiders, man. They are fucking, every time I see them, it's like they turn it on another fucking gear. They go to another level. Ah, man. One point in this match, guys, Pete Dunne is in a submission. The Undisputed Era is fending off the War Raiders. So the War Raiders are in the other ring. In the other ring, you have Pete Dunne he's in a submission lock. He's also got a chair to his face for more pressure. At any point, he could tap out and lose it for his team. So the rest of the Undisputed Era is fending off the War Raiders. So the ground game is being covered by Undisputed Era. Nobody can get to Pete Dunne. They got chairs, kendo sticks, you can't get through. So if you can't get through on the ground game, where do you go? You go to the aerial assault. Out of nowhere, Ricochet comes fucking flying into frame to make the save. Takes out Undisputed Era, makes the save for Pete Dunne. That was an awesome spot. It literally was like war. Like, the front lines, they can't get through to make their save. They're trying to save one of their own. And they can't get through. They're being fended off. So here comes the aerial help from above. And here comes Ricochet. It just reminded me of like war. You got the fucking military coming in. All of a sudden here comes the aircraft. And the aircraft is called that's the Ricochet 101. And he comes flying in, man. And he makes a save. And it was done beautifully. I love that spot. Another spot for Ricochet. Ricochet just owned this shit. He's on the top of the cage. every single superstar down below. And this motherfucker does like his double backflip from the top of the cage. One rotation, two rotation, takes everybody out. I don't care if he hit it square or not. That was beautiful to watch. Fucking A. I can't even do a backflip. This motherfucker's doing a double from the top of a cage. Beautiful. 5 minutes left in this match. One of the best moments. They went to war for over 40 minutes. 5 minutes are left. I timed this beautifully. There's 5 minutes left. And all of Undisputed Era is on one side of the ring. All of Pete Dunne, Ricochet, the War Raiders, their team is on the other side. They're all standing on their respective sides, staring at each other, beaten up, bruised, battered, fucked up. Right, FUBAR. That's what we call that, FUBAR. Fucked up beyond recognition. And they were all standing there FUBAR'd. And you were like, how do you not give that a fucking round of, more than a fucking golf clap? LA on their fucking feet, shouting NXT as they should be. That is the ultimate sign of respect that's the only thing we could do for these competitors. 40 plus minutes of going to war, and you know the ending is coming because they don't have anything left to give. And they all are just standing there staring at each other like, what fucking else do we have to do? But fuck it. Bring it, bitch. And they were both saying, let's do this. And they go through the ropes of their respected rings. They're in the middle of each ring now, and they're all now face to face, and they just go, fuck it. Boom! They just start beating the fuck out of each other until there's one man left standing. When it was all said and done, who the fuck, I think, was it Adam Cole that got beat? Or, oh man, I wish I could remember, guys. I want to say Adam Cole, but Ricochet and Pete Dunne covered up for the victory. You had Pete Dunne doing his ground game finisher. You had Ricochet flying from up above. So they both delivered devastating maneuvers leading into a double count. Again, Ricochet's arm was on, I'll say Adam Cole. And then you had Pete Dunne. His arm was also on him. So the referee said, fuck it, let's count 1, 2, 3. And War Raiders, Pete Dunne, Ricochet win this match. And again, it was Ricochet and Pete Dunne for their team. Pay-per-view goes off the air, special event, whatever you want to call it, goes off the air with Pete Dunne and Ricochet on the top of the cage celebrating with their championships. So, I don't know if they'll do something with them in the future too. I mean, fan favorites, obviously. But Pete Dunne was looking at Ricochet's championship and going, nice. And Ricochet goes, anytime. And that's how it ended. So it was cool, you know. That'll be a fun match in the future too. But Ricochet is at a level of his own, man. He's bouncing around that ring like a fucking flying ninja. I don't know who could keep up with this motherfucker. Pete Dunne looks like the guy who's fucking bagging your groceries. But guess what? No, he's one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. Just a ton of talent in that ring, and nobody missed their marks last night. It was just beautiful to watch, and again, that's what NXT does. I would love to cover this more, guys. There's just not a big fan base, a big enough fan base for NXT. Maybe one day there will be, but it's just it's not big enough yet. And that's a shame. NXT delivered, man. Again, I was not thinking it wasn't going to. Takeovers are done beautifully and brilliantly. They're not overpacked, the card. This one only had 4 matches. Usually it's only 5 tops. This one was 4, 2.5 hours-ish. And every fucking match blew my expectations right out of the water, man. Thank you to every performer who performed last night. Honestly, you tried to put on a great show for us, and guess what? You did. You succeeded, and that's why you're some of the best in the world. Thank you so much. To the competitors that'll be in the ring tonight for Survivor Series. This isn't about trying to be NXT. This isn't about trying to live up to those standards or expectations. You can't do that. NXT is in a world of its own, and you have to treat it as such. What I ask all the competitors, male and female, tonight going into Survivor Series to do, I ask one thing. Do your best. Take your risks and chances. You steal the show. That's what I ask of you. no matter what booking and creative is given you, go out and steal the fucking show. If every single one of you try to do that, it's going to be a good show. I'm really hoping Survivor Series delivers tonight. Of course, I'll be with you guys tomorrow for the good, the bad, and the ugly, the Survivor Series review. And I'll hold no punches back, man. I'm giving Nia Jax stiff shots. I'm knocking motherfuckers out tomorrow with that review. So whatever's good tonight, I'm going to call it out tomorrow. Whatever's bad, I'm going to tell the truth and I'm going to call it out. And whatever's ugly tonight, you're damn sure we're going to get amplified on it, guys. I'm not going to pull any mulligans here. This is the last big pay-per-view for WWE. Because TLC is a little bit minor next month. This is the last of the big four. They have to deliver something huge to get us ready for WrestleMania season. Obviously, Royal Rumble will really do that. But Survivor Series, you want to end us on a high note. And I think there's some matches here tonight that have the capability of being huge talking points tomorrow in a good way. Not in a bad way. But I'll shut up about it. I don't want to jinx shit. We'll let the boys and gals do their thing tonight. Last night, those boys and gals brought it. I loved it. Nothing but praise. Amplified, man. We're going to go fucking nab a few Starbucks drinks right now and really wake up and kick this Sunday's ass and get ready for Survivor Series. Hopefully you guys do the same. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the big one, Survivor Series. For now, much love and respect. Check you later.